Imagine, just for a second, standing right at the edge of a hole that is so unbelievably deep, if you dropped a rock straight down the center, you'd have to stand there in complete silence for several seconds before you even heard a sound. So what actually lies beneath our feet? It's a question we've been asking since the literal dawn of humanity.
But here's the crazy part. Imagine this massive hole isn't some natural canyon or a volcanic vent. It's man-made. Humans actually dug this. And they didn't do it to drill for oil. They weren't hunting for gold, and they definitely weren't searching for diamonds. They dug down nearly 8 miles for one reason and one reason only: to uncover the ultimate mysteries hiding directly beneath us.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolutely incredible true story of the Kola Superdeep Borehole. I am so excited to guide you through this, because what happened deep underground didn't just shock the scientific community, it actually gave birth to some of the strangest, most terrifying rumors in modern history. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The Underground Space Race. To really understand how this whole thing started, we have to set the stage. It's the middle of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in this fierce, high-stakes geopolitical competition. But here's the thing. They weren't only competing in the skies above us. They were also racing underground. While NASA was boldly looking up, reaching into outer space with their famous missions to the moon, Soviet scientists had an entirely different dream. They asked themselves a fascinating question. What if we could reach the Earth's crust and actually study our very own planet from the inside out?
And so, this completely unprecedented underground race kicked off in 1970. The Soviets set up camp on the Kola Peninsula, which is this incredibly remote, freezing cold landscape way up in northern Russia. And it was right there that they started drilling what would eventually become the absolute deepest hole in human history.
Section 2. Drilling into the unknown. Now, the initial goal of this project sounded incredibly simple on paper. Just drill deeper into the Earth than any human had ever gone before. But, of course, they had absolutely no idea what actually awaited them in the dark below.
Because, as you could imagine, this wasn't a quick process. Year after agonizing year, the heavy machinery pushed further and further into completely uncharted underground territory. 1 kilometer, then 3 kilometers, then 5, then 7. Just a relentless downward grind into a world literally no one had ever seen.
And finally, after immense effort, they reached a monumental depth, a staggering 12,262 meters. That is over 40,000 feet. For those of us in the US, we're talking about 7.6 miles straight down into the Earth's crust.
To really wrap our heads around that massive number, think about it like this. If you could somehow pick up Mount Everest, turn it completely upside down, and drop it inside this hole, its peak still wouldn't even reach the surface. It's just a truly mind-boggling scale. Section 3. Messages from Another World. Now, here's the catch. No human has ever traveled that deep, and obviously, no camera could survive down there to explore it directly. So scientists had to rely entirely on tiny rock samples brought back up to the surface by the drill. They literally treated these samples like alien messages arriving from another world.
Scientists assumed that at those extreme depths, the immense pressure would make the rocks incredibly smooth and dense. Instead, they were completely stunned when they pulled up rocks that were heavily cracked. And even more shockingly, those cracks contained actual liquid water, over 7 miles underground.
So how is water even possible down there? Well, scientists believe this wasn't water flowing from some hidden underground river. It was actually water that had been trapped inside minerals for billions of years, finally released by the extreme pressure. And the surprises didn't stop there. They also discovered tiny, microscopic marine fossils inside these ancient rocks. These were remains of marine organisms that lived nearly 2 billion years ago. This proved that this deep layer of rock was actually an ancient ocean. It showed that our planet's surface had changed far more dramatically over time than anyone ever thought possible.
Section 4. The Gates of Hell. But science wasn't the only thing this hole produced. As the drilling pushed deeper and deeper, things took a very dark turn in the public imagination. A shocking urban legend was born, and it spread like wildfire across global newspapers and radio stations in the late 1980s. This terrifying rumor claimed that scientists had lowered a heat-resistant microphone into the borehole, and the audio they captured was absolutely horrifying. People claimed the microphone picked up the agonizing sounds of millions of people screaming,
Total panic ensued, with some reports legitimately claiming that the Soviet team had accidentally breached the literal gates of hell.
People all around the world totally bought into this. But here is the plain, unvarnished truth. It never happened. The audio recording that circulated was completely fake. It was actually pieced together from a horror movie audio track and mixed with some random sound effects. No scientific team ever reported hearing screams underground. But, it just goes to show you, sometimes fear and unbelievable stories spread much, much faster than actual science.
The real nightmare waiting for them down there wasn't demons at all. It was the heat. Scientists had modeled the expected temperature to be around 100 degrees Celsius. Instead, they hit an absolute wall of heat, measuring and equipment destroying 180 degrees Celsius. That's a scorching 356 degrees Fahrenheit.
Section 5. Why did they stop? Which brings us to a really major question. After more than 20 years of relentless, record-breaking drilling, why didn't they just keep going?
Well, the deeper they drilled, the more impossible the physics became. That insane 356-degree heat made the rocks behave less like solid stone and more like soft, gooey plastic. The intense conditions literally twisted their heavy-duty drill bits, causing catastrophic equipment failures. And as a direct result, the cost of the project just completely exploded. Eventually, continuing the mission became physically and financially impossible.
After more than 2 decades of non-stop work, the mission officially ended. Today, if you visit the site, you won't find a massive cavern. You'll just find a heavy, unassuming metal cap. The entrance is completely sealed. But, despite being abandoned, the Kola Superdeep Borehole still proudly holds the world record today.
Now, a lot of people mistakenly think these scientists reached the center of the Earth. The truth is much, much more humbling. Earth's radius is nearly 6,371 kilometers, but the Kola borehole reached just over 12 kilometers. That tiny little sliver represents less than 0.2% of the distance to the center. 99.8% remains completely untouched.
It really gives you a humbling perspective, doesn't it? We have explored distant planets. We have literally walked on the moon. We've even sent probes entirely beyond our solar system. Yet, the world right beneath our feet remains one of Earth's greatest, most unexamined mysteries. The deepest hole ever dug didn't reveal monsters, but it definitely revealed just how little we truly know about our own home. Maybe someday, in the future, new technology will allow us to push past that 0.2% and take us even deeper into the crust. Until then, we are left wondering, what incredible secrets are still waiting below? If you enjoyed this explainer and want to keep exploring the unknown with us, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on the next Deep Dive.